You're listening to another edition of Interview with DJ Nocturna. Thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please make a comment if you like the interview. Well, to this morning or this afternoon, I'm speaking with visionary artist. She's also a singer-songwriter and photographer. Her name is Attasalina. Hello.
Hello.
You.
Hi.
Yeah, so thank you for joining me. I know it's a good afternoon over there in New Mexico, right?
It is. It is afternoon in New Mexico. It's starting to warm up just a little bit, and the fall colors are coming in nicely.
Oh yeah, just like here. We're in the morning, and I'm usually talking to somebody like either they're in the evening time somewhere in Europe, or they're in the afternoon, like somewhere where you are. And I'm always in the morning, so I'm always drinking my coffee, and I got my bat mug.
Nice.
You see that? So a friend of mine did this for me. His name is Joey
Oh,
Ciarello,
that's
and
great.
yeah, and he makes these pottery, and look, it's actually this is one of a kind. And I just do a little plug for him.
That's fantastic. No, that is really fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, he has this Etsy page called Demons in My Tea, and his name is Joey. Let me see the website. Yeah, he does it Etsy. Yeah, so yeah, it's really cool. Yeah,
Very
so
cool. I'll check that out.
thank you for thank you for joining me, and I've been wanting to interview you for a while. Since I heard you on some collaborations you've done. I know you worked with guitarist for Bauhaus, Daniel Ash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Early on, that was like back in 2010, I believe. Yeah, with a song called "The Soldiers of Every Day."
Yes.
And he actually came to Hawaii. And I met him.
Oh,
He,
how nice.
yeah,
When was that?
oh gosh, it was a long time ago. I would say maybe like 2005,
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember those days.
2003, maybe. Yeah, he was DJing for my event called Acid Wash. And
Oh, I have a vague memory of
you
that
do? Oh
actually.
wow.
I do, because I had just kind of
Mhm.
gotten back in town about that time. And that was having a lot of interaction with Daniel at that time. We lived close by.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, he was getting really into DJing. For a
Yeah.
while, he was going by DJ Shag Toy. This was
Yeah.
one of his things, and yeah, no, I actually do have a memory of that time and everything. So that's cool. That's neat to know.
Yeah, yeah. It was interesting. Yeah, I have a picture with him too. And then I remember it was pretty cool. I mean, it's an 80s night. And I know he rides motorcycles. He had a I know he probably still does. He has a
Oh
passion
yes, he
for
will
motorcycles.
always ride motorcycles. It is, yes, he has motorcycles. He rides motorcycles. He talks about motorcycles.
Yeah. And so how did you collaborate with him on this single?
It's actually it's a pretty special story, actually. I met Daniel around 99, 2000, because he moved to the area I was living in Southern California. He lived in a house with a close friend of mine. And that's how we met, and we became friends and knew each other for a long time. And I wrote a song that I sang and dedicated to the same friend years later.
Mhm.
And it ended up being the last night that I saw him alive. And he
Oh,
passed away a few days later. Our friend Christopher Columbus was his real
oh,
name. And so I sang that song at his memorial. Daniel and I
oh,
helped put a memorial together for this friend of ours. And I ended up singing the song at the memorial because of that. And so then Daniel wanted to record it. And so he was working in a local studio at the time, maybe because he had been working on a Bauhaus record right about that time. I can't remember, but he had been working at the studio, and so we just went down and recorded the song very impromptu, shall we say. He just got on the keyboards and I got in the booth, and we just kind of went with the song. And that's kind of how that recording came along. And then later on, our other friend, Christopher Minister, heard the recording and said, oh, Dan, you got to put some more music to this and put it out. And so he ended up doing more production, and then we ended up releasing it then years later after the recording took place. But yeah, it was really for a close friend of ours, and came out of just years of friendship and for mentorship. He helped me with music a lot and loaned me equipment, and yeah, we just kind of had a local, like we were just local musicians just doing stuff, you know. It was very kind of personal, I guess, experience, which was really nice. So
yeah, it's really funny how, you know, we meet people and there's a connection, and it's just, that's the way it is, you know. It's such a small world, huh?
it is, yeah. And Daniel really was coming into a phase where he was wanting to get away from it all, and so kind of coming back to the roots of music, and just, you know, where he began kind of doing music in the local scene, and not before he was very famous, and he was really into kind of having those experiences again, getting back to the kind of original creative mode. So
Yeah.
that's what that song came out of.
In fact, that single, I believe it's in the CD called Freedom I Love, which is a limited edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be nice if you guys can collaborate again and make another song, you know.
It would be, and people do keep saying that. You never, it's hard to plan these things,
I
you know,
know.
and but maybe I'll give them a call one of these days and see if we can pull something together. So
You
yeah.
know, your name is very unique. You know, if you Google it, you're the only one that comes up with Attasalina.
Yeah.
And I know there's a meaning to that. It was given to you by your godmother, who was a Buddhist teacher,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it means providing the meaning. I think that's what it means, something like that. Well, what does that mean?
So the name is the original name is Attasalini, and
Oh,
it's the title of a book which is part of the Pali Canon, which is basically all the real, like, official texts of Theravada Buddhism in what used to be called Burma. I can't help but still call it Burma because it was Burma when I was named that. So it's Myanmar now, and it was something else, I imagine, when these texts were first created. But it's a book within all the texts of Buddhism. Probably a lot of people in, like, Buddhism has a lot of contemporary integration now, but people maybe don't realize, like, how many texts there actually are, in terms of, like, the original school of Buddhism was the Theravada school, and it's very there's a lot of information. There's all these classifications of states of being, and it's a lot more intense and intellectual, I think, than people realize, in terms of like, what it's like. It is a religion, but it's also not a religion. It's very much like an examination of the mind in a very practical, real sense, very scientific sense, you could say. So that book is it translates as providing the meaning, because that book explains what the Buddha meant in the Dhamma Sangani, which is the classifications of all the Dhammas, which is basically all the states of existing, in terms of, like, different states of, you could say, desire or suffering or compassion, or, like, but they're all broken down into, like, really specific Those are like the general states. Then they have like, he has like all these very specific descriptions. It goes on for many, many pages. I've never read the whole thing. And so anyway, my godmother was a teacher in that lineage of the Theravadan lineage, and for some reason decided that that was her inspiration, was the idea of understanding, I guess, that, and considered it a blessing.
Well,
And
hopefully she's listening now. I mean,
well, she would be listening from the spirit world.
okay.
And
Listening
she,
now.
she may very well be. Yeah, she passed away in 2015.
Oh,
And that was the inspiration for the project that I'm working on right now, actually.
yeah. So I know you grew up in Venice Beach.
Yes.
Ojai Valley.
Yeah.
And you started, you were very musically inclined, even as a child, right? You played the piano at a very young age.
Yeah.
And that's how you started with music. So you come from a musical family with your grandfather being a jazz artist as well, right?
That's
And
correct. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
So
he was a singer and a drummer.
so you've been so inspirational with music. You started off your band, which is called the Seraphim Rising. I love that name.
Thank you.
That's in 2008, right? And then you had your release, which came out a few years later, Life in Suspension, on Halloween. That's interesting.
Yes.
I like that. And then you also had your side projects on that, right? You also had your own without the band, just on your own. So you also wrote some of these songs, right? Yes.
Yeah, well, pretty much everything that I've sung, other than cover songs, obvious cover songs, are my songs. I've written the lyric and the melody, and usually composed the music to some degree as well. Although, like with Daniel Ash collaboration, he did all the music, and of course with John Fryer, he does all the music, and then, yeah, for the Seraphim Rising, it started out as a solo project and then grew into a band project. And so I was writing the songs for that project. And then now I'm continuing on just more as a solo project, collaborating with different artists as well. And I'm also collaborating with members of the Seraphim Rising, but just more informally, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, I recognize some people who helped master and mix the tracks there. Martin Bowes, I believe is part of that, and then the other album, the Heart of the Beast. You got Darwin there. I also know Darwin.
Yeah, Darwin. Yeah, he recorded and produced that track, and we performed together for a little bit back in 2014. Okay. Yeah, we performed at some shows in California, played at the Desert Stars Festival, and just had a brief collaboration there. We happened to live just a mile away from each other for a little while.
Oh, so, yeah, I mean,
so so that was, it's a small, like you say, it's a small world. We keep
it really is.
There's a lot of connectivity.
And I actually met them in person. I mean, Martin came to Hawaii.
Oh, great. Yeah.
I brought him down here. He loved it. Oh, I didn't even know he did this. So I'm going to mention that when I play the song, because I didn't even realize that, he doesn't say much. He's very humble guy, He never talks about himself because, but God, that's really interesting. And then we know another person, the legendary producer, John Fryer, who's another person we know. Yeah, and he's also been to Hawaii. And I know you collaborated with him on his album. What's it called? Before the Tears Came, Messages by Dreams, right? From Black Needle Noise.
Yeah, we did that in 2016. It was one of at the very beginning of the project. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that track actually. I've been playing it. I played it a few times and
oh, nice. Thank you.
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit. the interview that I had with him last week, which is the interview will be played like next week.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you collaborated with him recently too. There's a new album called Machine, a
Yes.
new single, but with
Yeah.
a lot of remixes, right?
Many remixes. Yeah.
Well, they're good. I
Yeah.
like them.
They're all amazing too, and they're all
Yeah.
very unique. So that was really fun, because yeah, it was like every week I was like, oh, there's another remix I get to hear. And yeah, they were all really unique interpretations. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was nice coming out of the year of the pandemic, obviously. Was really wonderful to be collaborating with some people and putting out some music, so that was really neat. I was really happy with that project.
So did you do the lyrics for that one? Or
Yes.
did you
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
I did the lyrics and
Machine.
the voice for that. And then I invited my friend Meredith to do the live violin performance for it as well.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that was really lovely. And then John, put it all together in his magical way, and really created something special with that. That was
Oh,
really nice.
that guy is amazing.
Yeah.
He's so funny. I mean, he's too funny at the same time.
Yes. Yeah, he's a lot of fun to work with. He's been great to collaborate with, and become a good friend. And that's been really nice to do. So,
Yeah.
and of course met through Daniel, essentially not through Daniel, but because he was in town doing something on the Stripped album. I think Daniel was doing that. We just so happened to bump into each other at the same hotel. I had artwork in this hotel in Ojai, and I was coming to pick it up, and he was in the lobby. And so we had a chance meeting, and stayed connected ever since. So
Yeah, he actually mentioned that on the interview.
oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. It was and I was only in town like just for those couple days. It was I wasn't living in town at the time. So it was it was kind of you might say meant to be. Yeah, it was a very short window that we would happen to have met each other there, and we just happened to do that. So, and I of course have been a fan of a lot of work that he has had his hands on, and listen, listen to him extensively. So yeah, that was great.
Yeah, and that particular single is actually released on COP International this year, called Machine. So if anybody want to check that out, copint.com, where you can find that, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's the label that John's working with now, and they're doing a lot of amazing work right now. Definitely worth checking out the label. They have a lot of amazing artists are putting some work out. I put work out this year, so.
Now you have something coming up, right? You're a photographer as well, and you have this new book. Is that your first book? Is that one of your first photography book?
It is. It is the What's that?
It's also a musical album, right?
Yes. This is my great work that I'm working on, that I've been working on, and I'm still working on it, and it's progressing. It's called Freed from Rage and Sorrow, which is taken from a quote attributed to the Buddha, and was inspired by the passing of my godmother a number of years ago. And is a bunch of black and white film photographs from my travels. Then is also a musical album that's going to feature songs that were written over a long period of time as well. Some of the songs that I've already put out, like the Heart of the Beast single, will end up going on the album. And I'm recording right now and collaborating, and working with John Fryer on that project as well. And just doing what we can under the pandemic conditions every month. It's like, well, let's see what we could do today. Obviously working from home is is good, and I can get a lot of work done. So yeah, hopefully we'll see more progress on that coming into the next year. But yeah, it's coming along.
So a lot of the images that's going to be in this book, are they from just your experiences that you had through the times? I know you did some traveling many years
Yes.
ago.
Yeah.
You went to a country. I guess you went across the country. You were shooting photos and.
I did. I had, we were living in Hollywood and things kind of went south. And I had always wanted to buy a van and travel in the van. And so I decided to sell, basically, we mostly sold all our possessions and bought this 1986 Volkswagen van. And
It's like living the life. I mean, some people dream that they just dream it. They never do it, you know?
It's true. Well, this was back in 2004 that we did this. So it was kind of in between where it was like before that was very fashionable with all the hippies and everything. And then of course it became in vogue again. But at that time, we were kind of in this weird space where people weren't really doing that too much. So we were out on the road, and of course there was very little cell phone coverage at that time and outside of the city.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so we were very on the road, and we had a laptop, and I was trying to blog in the early days. I mean, it was like I was too far ahead of the curve on that one, but yeah, I was trying to do all of that back then when you had to like build everything by hand. And
I mean, do you remember the message boards?
Yeah,
like message boards back then.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was trying to like code a blog by hand to design it. There was no Instagram, you know. But yeah, we traveled for about a year, and off and on, you know, we come back and camp at my mom's place and stuff. But we traveled mostly the Western United States, the Southwest and the Pacific Northwest, and I photographed a lot. And came back to Ojai and had some shows and started really working as a professional photographer again, and established. And that's when I started doing, you know, kind of the phase of music and photography that I'm coming out of right now, that, you know, has led me to where I am now. And so some of these photographs have been exhibited before, but many of them were images that never were shown kind of in that first time frame. And they are all kind of, they're landscapes, but they're also not in the traditional sense. They're very grainy black and white film. A lot of them are taken kind of just off the road. They're kind of like I kind of think it's almost like spiritual photojournalism. They're photojournalistic images, but they're capturing a sense, like a feeling or a memory or something that reminds me of something. So it has a narrative about kind of the arc of my life's journey, because I've had a lot of visionary experiences, and I've had some weird things happen to me. Things are very karmic, things are very connected, you know, like I'm constantly connecting with these people that are all connected in these other ways that lead me to something that I need to be doing or whatever. So the photographs are kind of an illustration of that experience. And so, yeah, they're very emotive. They're very meditative also. I'm very interested in kind of that subtle experience, and less of an intellectual experience and more of an emotive experience, I guess you could say, intuitive experience.
Wow, that's going to be interesting. So it's Free from Rage and Sorrow. That's a musical album and photography book. And when do you anticipate that you're going to be releasing that? I know it's kind of like just still working on it, right?
We're working on it. We're working on it. Yeah, we'll hope to be able to announce that next year in terms of when that'll be released. Yeah, yeah.
And you have a website. It's called Attasalina.com.
Yeah.
If people want to check that out. And I know you have a Patreon group there, right?
Yeah, I have a Patreon that people have been subscribing to. That is where I've been posting kind of the process of recording and working on the album and the book project. and yeah, all my music and a lot of the photography can be looked at on the website, and all the updates to what I'm doing are there, and I'm on social media as little as possible, but I'm there.
Are we all? If somebody wanted to email you, reach out to you, or a photo shoot or something like that, how do they do that?
Yeah, for photography, if they go to my website and go to the galleries, there is an email address that you can find on the page there. My email music contact is all on Facebook as well, so I'm definitely reachable. You can shoot me a comment or a message on social media, and I'll get it there as well. So yeah.
Be sure to put a link on the bottom of this YouTube description as well.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Wow, I'm looking forward to this book and the music that's coming up. And thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you for having me.
Anything else you want to mention?
No, I think we covered it pretty good. Thank you. Yeah.
Next time I want to talk about that spiritual awakening experience you've been having in another show, because I think that's a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
It deserves like a more time. Yeah, the different yeah, I would love to do that. I was just yeah, well, anyway, we'll talk about it right after.
That sounds good. Sounds good. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me. Just so don't hang up. Okay, let me just put it off now. Thank you for joining me. All right, I'm gonna end this right now.